You know, in cybersecurity, we talk a lot about the breach, that big, flashy moment an attacker first gets in. But honestly, the real story, the really interesting part, starts right after that. Today, we're going to look at the art of staying in, because for an attacker, getting caught isn't just an inconvenience, it's game over.
All right, let's just dive right in. I want you to put yourself in the attacker's shoes for a minute. You did it. The exploit worked, you're past the firewall, you have a foothold on a machine inside the network. You're in. So, what's the very first problem you have to solve right now? Well, the problem is that your connection is incredibly fragile. Think about it. A lot of exploits are messing with a program that's running right now. What happens if that program crashes? Or what if the user just reboots their computer to go get lunch? Poof, just like that, your connection is gone. You're locked out. All that hard work, totally wasted. This is exactly why an attacker's #1 priority is always persistence. So, to solve that problem, you can't rely on the original exploit. You need to build your own permanent door to get back in. And that brings us to our first technique, which is basically leaving a window open. This is all about turning that temporary glitch into a reliable, long-term way back in. And the most fundamental way to do that, it's called a backdoor. The analogy is perfect, really. You've broken into the house, and the very next thing you do is sneak over to a back window and prop it open just a little, so you can slip back in whenever you want without making a big scene again. It's just a hidden bit of software running on the target's machine, quietly waiting for the attacker to call home. One of the oldest, most classic ways to create a backdoor is with a simple tool called Netcat. It's really just a two-step dance. First, on the victim's machine, the attacker starts a listener. That's just a piece of software that hangs out and waits for a connection on a specific network channel, or a port. Then, from their own computer, the attacker just connects to that listener. The moment they connect, they're given a command shell. Boom, they have remote control. It's so simple, but it's a super effective way to set up shop. But here's the thing with classic Netcat. It has a massive flaw. It is incredibly noisy. Every single command you type, all the data that comes back, it's all sent in plain text, unencrypted. Anybody who's watching the network traffic can read it like an open book. So naturally, that led to the creation of tools like CryptCat. It works exactly the same way, but it wraps everything in a layer of encryption. It's a huge upgrade, and it's that first real step toward being stealthy. Okay, so a simple command prompt is a good start. But let's be honest, serious attackers want more, so much more. They want total control. They want to see everything. This is really the difference between just propping open a window and having the master key to every single room in the entire building. And this quote, this just perfectly describes the next level of tool we're going to talk about. Metasploit's MeterPreter. If Netcat is a screwdriver, then MeterPreter is the entire professional workshop with all the power tools. This is where we go from a simple backdoor to what's called a full-featured remote access Trojan, or a RAT. These things are designed specifically for total control after you're already in. And the power you get with something like MeterPreter is just staggering. We're way beyond simple commands here. An attacker can use migrate to literally pick up their malicious code and inject it into a core system process, like explorer.exe. Good luck finding and killing it then. They can start a keylogger to capture every password typed, take secret screenshots of the user's desktop, or even use hashdump to steal the computer's password files to crack later. This isn't just remote access. This is deep, granular, total control of the system. But wait a second. All of this activity, migrating processes, dumping passwords, taking screenshots, you've got to assume that's creating a ton of noise, right? I mean, security software is built to look for this kind of stuff. An attacker with this much power is basically an elephant in a china shop. So that raises the next really important question. How do you use all this power and stay completely invisible? And that, my friends, brings us to the final evolution in this journey, becoming a ghost in the machine. This is where we enter the world of rootkits. And rootkits, they are the absolute apex predator of stealthy malware. The best way to think about a rootkit is as an attacker's personal invisibility cloak. It operates at a super low level of the operating system, sometimes even inside the kernel, the absolute core of the system. This gives it the power to intercept and change information before you ever see it. So when a user or even an antivirus program asks the system, hey, what programs are running? The rootkit intercepts that question and gives back a filtered list, one that, surprise, surprise, leaves out all the attacker's malicious stuff. And this level of invisibility is completely customizable. A well-known rootkit called Hacker Defender literally uses a config file that acts like an invisibility menu. The attacker just goes down the list. Want to make these files and folders disappear from view? Check. Need to hide these malicious programs from the task manager? Done. How about concealing the open network ports for the backdoors? Easy. It's a tool designed to systematically erase every single footprint of the intrusion. So, let's pull all this together. We've seen this progression, right? From a simple, noisy backdoor to a super powerful remote access tool, and finally, to a rootkit's invisibility cloak. Now, let's connect the dots and talk about why this really matters. Here's the key takeaway. A sophisticated attack is never about just one tool. It's about layering these techniques. An attacker might use an exploit to get in, then immediately deploy something like MeterPreter to get control, migrate it into a safe process so it survives a reboot, and then wrap the whole thing in a rootkit to make it all invisible. This layered approach is what turns a momentary breach into a deeply embedded, persistent threat that can go completely undetected for months, or sometimes even years. And this creates a huge, fundamental challenge for the defenders, for the good guys. The very tools we rely on to see what's happening on a system, like Task Manager or the File Explorer, can be tricked into lying to us. And that leaves us with one final, really difficult question. How do you even begin to find a ghost in the machine when that ghost has the power to erase its own footprints?